What up, folks? I'm back once again doing another video game review, and the game I'm reviewing right now is WWF Super Wrestlemania for the Super Nintendo. Now, it was released by LJN, and it had a Genesis version that was simply called WWF Wrestlemania, with like minor differences between the two games. Now, and one thing I can honestly say that the WWF games during the life cycle of the NES, Super Nintendo, and the Sega Genesis is that only the like upper card wrestlers were used in the games, and WWF Super Wrestlemania was no different. And with this particular game, the following wrestlers that consisted of this particular rosters: Hulk Hogan, Jake the Snake Roberts, Undertaker, Macho King Randy Savage, Sid Justice, $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, the Natural Disasters, and LOD. And the type of matches you could pick from were like single matches, tag team matches, and the traditional Survivor Series mode. Which brings up another thing about the WWF games from that time era is that the game modes were like very limited. Most of them did have like a one-on-one and tag team matches, and this was mainly Super Nintendo, the ones that came out for Super Nintendo and Genesis. But like I said, these games were very limited in terms of the mode. And another thing is that with this particular mode, with the modes that's available for Super Wrestlemania, you can either do one or two players. And another thing is that the wrestlers in this game pretty much had the same type of hold, holds, like suplexes, arm drags, body slams, and leg drops. And if anybody who watched wrestling for any amount of time, say like at least a year, you will notice that each of the wrestlers have their own group of wrestling holds, and the ones that's in this particular game are no different. And one thing I honestly don't get about this particular game, and this may include like other games, other WWF games, is that why don't Super Wrestlemania don't have any championship matches, especially since the WWF Championship is in the background of the match selection screen. And the game does have the wrestlers musical theme, interesting in it. It's just like pretty much a 16-bit rendition. It's alright. It's like it's okay from a standpoint. You could actually recognize the instrument theme of each wrestler. I can't say the same for like, for example, Back to the Future, where the main music on that one is supposed to be Power of Love, but the fact of the matter is, anybody who played it just cannot tell the difference between that music and Power of Love from the movie. And I actually did mention that in my review of Back to the Future. Now, and actually, speaking of this particular another game of Super Wrestlemania. This is actually the first and only time that I'm aware of where LJN didn't use their own music for a tying game that they did, be it like a movie, be it like a movie, comic book, or sports game. Now, as far as the graphics are concerned, the graphics for Super WrestleMania is okay. The graphics are better than a lot of the LJN games that I played. I would say, with the exception of like Wolverine, they're about the same. But for the most part, it's better than most of the games that I played. And the level design, it pretty much resembles a wrestling ring and an arena. They did a good okay job with that one. And the patrols, the wrestlers are on the slow side. They're stiff and it's boring. You know, this pretty much is practically the worst aspect of WWF Super WrestleMania. And it don't help that the hit detection is straight awful and lousy. Now, like I said, the soundtrack consists of it's part of it is the wrestler's interest theme, along with the music for the star screen and the selection screen. But that's as much soundtrack as you're gonna get. One thing I don't get is why they didn't include music for the matches. You know, like in-ring music. They could have done that. Well, I don't know why they didn't. You know, so it's kind of like the WWF Super WrestleMania. Is it like the worst LJN game? I can't believe I'm actually like defending a game, but it's still it's still a mediocre title when you compare it to other like Super Nintendo games like F-Zero, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, Super Mario World. I can go on and on. But yeah, this game is just mediocre, and it's hard for me to like recommend the game for anybody who owns a Super Nintendo who's a big time wrestling fan. As far as the score is concerned, I would definitely give this a 5 out of 10. With that being said, if you played this game and you have a similar opinion as I do about it, you can mention it in the comment section. You can also mention other WWF games that you play. It could be either on Genesis, Super Nintendo, or the NES. You can also mention that in the comment section. If you like this video, don't forget to click the thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe. This is your boy, Big Metroid Fan, signing off.